What's up everybody, I'm Abatage and welcome to Ion Assault. This is a shooty bang bang that is it's really good, but it's really different. So, hey, let's play it. I just want to double check.
Options, controls.
Yeah, there's no like... No, okay.
Help and options.
Apparently I can't navigate the menu here with the controller, but I will be playing with gamepad. But you can see there's 4 areas here that we're going to tackle. Each one has a number of stages and a boss at the end. So there's only going to be about 4 videos anyway on this series, so, you know, strap in. Now the idea is we are this little ship here. We've got general twin stick controls, left stick to move, right stick to aim. But all these particles are our weapon. So we can hold down left trigger to gather them up. And we don't need to gather them up this much, I'm just kind of taking my time to show you. And then we release left trigger to fire them at objects like aliens or asteroids or that sort of thing. And you can see it kind of sends them shooting around the stage, especially when they ricochet off objects. And you get dense areas in the corner here. You know, as they bounce around, you can see they're distributed differently. So there's like not many over here where I am right now, but there's quite a dense gathering over here. So I can pick them up and fire them off. They also work if they hit things while I'm holding on to them. So that's a good thing to remember as well if you're floating around and getting worried about things attacking you. And the idea is basically to destroy all these asteroids. Now there are these guys who show up, who are kind of aliens in their own right, but
Gravity boost enabled.
they give you these power-ups, and this one's a gravity boost, so it means I'll just soak up more of these particles from a greater distance while I have it active. So I might as well take advantage of that. This guy's an enemy who's going to hurt me if I let him. So that was quite a good shot because I had a fair amount of particles. When I'm not, you know, gathering them like this, I'll be able to pick up these score little pips, if you want to call them that. And that's basically what's going to give me the score, as well as, you know, multipliers and that sort of thing, depending on how quickly and efficiently, of course, we get through the level. There's more to it, but we'll get to that as we go. But essentially, it can be a very slow shooter because, you know, we can wander around gathering up these things. We can take some time to kill off some of these enemies if we want, but we don't have to. So all we need to do is get rid of this asteroid, and that will give us a portal to the next stage. But maybe we want some more score so we can kill off the enemies anyway. But we'll head into the next stage, and what you can see is it is kind of slow. I'm going to need my mouse here again, aren't I? Yeah.
Entering battlefield.
Which I find is both good and bad because, you know, there's something to be said about a fast-paced, action-packed twin stick. But this one, when there's no enemies spawned and it's just asteroids, you can kind of take your time and just kind of appreciate the groovy graphics. Because these do all take place in small arenas like this. So there's not, you know, a lot going on other than... Well, there is. Sometimes it gets kind of hectic, as you'll see, especially in the later levels. But the main thing is you can kind of take your time if you so desire, and it kind of needs to be done when there are enemies on screen like this who you need to not necessarily destroy, but they'll you know, run into you and make you lose a life if you're not careful. So even though you don't have to destroy enemies, it's kind of worthwhile doing so anyway. Because like these guys, they're gathering up particles, so they're not really attacking me, but they're definitely gathering particles, making life difficult. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if I can destroy them. So I keep firing at them, but nothing's happening. Maybe I'm not firing enough at them. But you can see this asteroid here is glowing because it has a power-up inside. So one thing we want to do is take out this guy, get that power up. So it gave us a shield, which is always a good thing. But this other asteroid down here we want to destroy.
Plasma torus.
So that gave us a secondary, which if we use the right trigger, you can see it kind of creates this vortex around us. Okay, so we can destroy those guys. It pulls all the particles into us. That was the plasmatores, whatever they call it. And these guys are actually firing at me now, so I need to pay attention. But yeah, it pulls all the particles in towards me and creates this vortex so we can just kind of attack anything around us. Oh, and another power up here. This will be a gravity boost.
Gravity boost enabled.
Which is good. We can finish off a few of these nice and quickly. Obviously, the more particles you carry at any one time or have gathered, the more you can fire. So the more powerful it is to fire. And you may also notice while I'm cruising around here doing this, they all ricochet off things, so you can bounce them off the walls, which can be kind of tactical, but not really that useful. But like to get these, I can bounce them off the walls, or, you know, if I shoot close enough, it'll bounce off the walls and come back and still damage the other asteroids in the field.
One obstacle remaining.
But once again, because there's no enemies attacking us, we can slow down a little, take our time, aim,
Stage complete.
destroy everything, collect up these points.
Initiating hyper jump.
You can earn extra lives back through, you know, combos and that sort of thing, and earning points. So
Entering battlefield.
hopefully we'll do that, otherwise we'll have to be restarting at the boss, because there's no way I can beat the boss with this sort of... with just one life. That would be a surprise, let me tell you. Let's see what power up we've got in here. Make sure we don't bump into it.
Vortex grenades.
Vortex grenades. So these ones, I can just drop one, say I'll drop one right here, and it'll create a vortex just in that one location. I can drop another one here. So, you know, it sucks all the particles out of the level, but it also gives you a chance to kind of get away and escape, perhaps, if you're about to be swarmed. I should probably take out these portals, because they're... Oh. That's the other thing. If, as you're cruising along, you bump into an asteroid, it doesn't kill you, but it kind of sends you careening out of control. So you lose all the particles you've gathered up, and you have to basically go around gathering them again.
Gravity boost enabled.
Another gravity boost, which is always nice because it means you can kind of rapid fire, because it pulls in
Triple kill.
particles quicker and from a much wider range, while it's active anyway. Ooh, what's this one?
Seeking drones.
Seeking drones. Interesting. So you can see on the top left side of the screen there, I've got all my secondaries lined up, and I actually have another mine left. And now I've got these seeking drones as well, and I think if I use my shoulder buttons, yep, I can select between them. So let's do some drones. So that sends out a drone who gathers up particles but seeks out enemies, I think, in an effort to destroy them. Unfortunately, there weren't really any enemies left to show that off. We killed them before we got to them. But that's okay, that's kind of good.
Stage complete.
So you can see with only, you know, 4 worlds, if we want to call them worlds, and I think there's about 5 or 6 stages per world. So at the moment we're on stage 4 of this one.
Entering battlefield.
So it could take a while to get through each world, but at the same time it's, you know, fairly easygoing, and I wouldn't say it's casual or anything, because it's really easy to kind of pass it off as this slow-moving twin stick, because you got to go around and gather some particles, and then you got to line up your shot, and then you got to fire it at them, and you know it's probably only going to do a little bit of damage, so depending on the enemy, you know, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it actually gets quite hectic, especially in the later levels, of course. But it's an odd kind of feeling, because it's a weird balance to strike, where you're trying to you know, shoot as fast as you can, but it's basically, it takes a finite and a definite minimum amount of time to reload,
Chronostasis initiated.
which is interesting. But it also depends on where you are on the level, because you can, you know, really get stuck with no particles to gather until you find where they've all ended up, usually because you've fired them across the whole stage, or they've exploded just like that. So, you know, it's a really, I like it because after playing lots and lots of shooters and twin sticks, it really brings a different dynamic. I mean, the only other twin stick I can think of that this reminds me of, or is anything similar, is Swarm Arena, which again I haven't played much of, and we'll probably, you know, do some vids on it eventually, because it's a good one to put into the shooty bang bang. But in Swarm Arena you have these like bacteria or something. I don't know, I've only played the demo in the past, so I'm not 100% sure.
Hyperjump.
But you have these bacteria which kind of swarm around your ship in a similar way that the particles do in this one. And you use that as your weapon. Like, you don't have just a gun with a laser or, you know, anything standard like that. You actually have particles and elements that you manipulate to collide with enemies, rather than just shooting weapons at enemies. I think that was... oh no, I did have another life. Okay. I thought I was going to have to restart. You can use continues if you do die in this. The main difference is you lose any kind of score that you've gathered up until then. So that's, you know, important to remember. So it's... the penalty for dying is not so much that you're dead and you can't continue and you have to, like, bash your head against the wall from the very beginning again. It's more, hey, you're not going to get a high score, but you can still continue and still finish. So, and I prefer that kind of method. I think it's just a nice way of doing it, because these sorts of games, you know, there's plenty here to keep you going for a high score, and, you know, I think a lot of people are into these games for chasing the high score and, you know, trying to min-max their gameplay, get multipliers and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, if you're someone like me who's not very good, you're probably never going to get a high score. So the thought of bothering with one is not really that attractive. So I'm glad that the only penalty for dying is really... obviously you have to start the level again, like you can't just pick up where you were. But the main thing is you lose your high score, so, you know, it's a harsh penalty if that's what you're going for, but if you're not, it doesn't really matter. I just earned an extra life, how about that? But you can see I'm struggling a bit here to keep up any kind of pace, which, you know, is my own fault for how I'm playing and everything, but you can see how it can be a fairly slow endeavour. Until enemies show up, of course. Let's check out another one of them.
One obstacle remaining.
And I like how you don't necessarily have to destroy the alien enemy things to progress. You just have to get rid of all the asteroids, like so. So, you know, there's like kind of a lot of built-in ways that you can play, which I think is always preferable to just a straight-up kind of difficulty,
Large enemy,
you know,
approaching.
selector. But hey, here we have a boss. So guess what? Yes, you have to just break off bits of the boss. And he has this shield, which you obviously can't get past initially. But whenever it's down so that he can fire, you can shoot at the things that are firing at you, and I just ran into a dude. So he's kind of tough. Like, you got to pay attention to a lot of things going on at once, which are...
over.
See, there you go. You got to pay attention to those little guys that he's firing at you. You got to pay attention to when he has, you know, when his shield's down. Yeah. You gotta pay attention to when the shield's down so that you can fire at them so that he can stop firing at you. You gotta be quick enough to stay out of everyone's way, but you want to gather up particles without, you know, not having any to fire when he's ready to be attacked. But you want to also fire at the dudes he's firing, and yeah, it can get quite hectic, and that's why I end up running into things. And because it's a one-hit kill, which is, you know, fairly typical for this style of game, yeah, we're all used to that for shooters. Because it's a one-hit kill, you can really get stuck, and with everything going on, this kind of shows off how, even though it is fairly, you know, easygoing in the grand world of twin sticks, there's enough going on to make it a little bit hectic, especially when it comes to these harder kind of levels. Damn it. Okay, so I'm going to concentrate here, hopefully. That's the idea. Let's get that gravity boost. I'm going to get hit, and I got hit. As soon as I get the power up, I got hit. Okay, let's go around, let's take out that one, hopefully, yep. Wait, no. That's the other thing, if you, like I said before, if you bounce off, if you hit an asteroid on the side of the arena or something, you do just bounce and you go careening out of control. And it's really, it's actually quite disorienting and really hard to get back into the rhythm. Okay. So you want to always be carrying some particles, because that also acts as a bit of a defense if something gets too close. So you've got to do this kind of half kind of shooting and grabbing at the same time. If you know, if you can. I've almost done the first stage. Yes, there's multiple stages. One more here. Okay. I think that should be. Yeah, okay, we can just go for this now. Damn it!
Over.
Well, we made it to the second stage. Prepare to see this a fair few times, because, you know, it's definitely ramping it up from the usual levels. Damn it. Keeping track of all those little guys is the worst. And it's kind of inherent into the game. Like, this is where the main mechanic of pulling in the ions really kind of shows its head for the first time and kind of says, fuck you. Because, you know, you're trying to take out all these little bastards, but then you're also trying to aim at the thing that's making those little bastards. So, you know, it becomes this kind of cat and mouse chess game where you're thinking more about, well, how much do I hang on to fight these little guys, and how much do I fire off to fight the thing that's spawning them, and where do I go to try and stay out of the way. I mean, I know there's lots of things running through your mind in every game, especially every shooter, because there's always so much going on. But this kind of asks you to think about it completely differently, which is why it's so unique and interesting to me. Damn it!
Over.
So close too. So close. So close. Let's do this. I think this early gravity boost kind of helped me out. Oh man, see, every time you hit the wall, you just end up bouncing around the stage. And I just wasted that power up as well, because there's no point getting it and then dying. Who would have thought power-ups work that way? And it also becomes important then to, you know, follow where you're firing. So if you fire ahead of you, it's worth just going straight ahead and picking up all the stuff that you fired. Otherwise you're going to end up going through an area which doesn't have, you know, anything to fire. Damn it. So close to... Okay, now forget the main thing and just go for these dudes on the side. Okay. Okay, we should be able to do this now. I think these stages, after the first stage, it gets easier. Because it's way more predictable and there's no little guys floating around. Nice. And that's it. See, told you it got easier. Do I have to... I have to do that, don't I? Still got to destroy all the asteroids.
Stage complete.
So yeah, you can see how that mechanic really comes into play, as in it starts being a bit of a pain. Because you can't just zoom around and shoot things the same way you would in any other twin stick. You have to actually kind of manage what you're firing where, and then being able to pick up all the ions and then using them as a bit of a shield for things coming at you, so that you're not, you know, you're not empty and vulnerable. But yeah, anyway, that there is Ion Assault. It's the first campaign anyway, the first campaign level. I'm going to continue with all the rest, so stay tuned. It'll be up next in the Shooty Bang Bang ethos. Whatever that means. And yeah, this will just continue to get more and more involved as we go. So yeah, look forward. The bosses especially, I think, are actually really unique and cool to check out. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.